Following President Biden's call with Prime Minister Netanyahu last week, in which he emphasized that Israel must take immediate action to protect civilians and get more aid into Gaza, we have seen a number of initial positive steps over the past few days. First, the Israeli cabinet has agreed to open a new northern crossing, which could be operational this week and would represent an important step in delivering assistance directly to northern Gaza, where we know the humanitarian situation is most severe. The Israeli cabinet also approved the use of Ashdod as a port of entry for relief, which, if implemented, could significantly facilitate the flow of assistance. In addition, we have seen the initial implementation of a streamlined process for regular truck convoys moving from Jordan through Israel and into Gaza, carrying essential supplies to those in dire need. The government of Jordan has played an important role in facilitating humanitarian assistance to Gaza, and we commend them for being ready to step up and do even more. Yesterday, 304 aid trucks entered Gaza, the highest number of trucks in any single day since the conflict began. That number represents a significant improvement, but it is important not just that we see the daily number continue to grow, but that it be sustained over time. Our hope is that by later this week, 350 trucks will enter Gaza each day, and we are working hard across the United States government to make that happen. We also welcome the announcement that the IDF is establishing a coordination unit for deconfliction as a direct contact point with the humanitarian community. More than 200 humanitarian workers have been killed during this conflict, and we have repeatedly pressed the Israeli government on the need to improve its deconfliction and coordination measures. The creation of this new unit, which is something President Biden raised directly with Prime Minister Netanyahu on their call last week, and which Secretary Blinken has raised in his meetings with Israeli officials, can contribute to the safety of those who are working tirelessly to bring relief to the Palestinian people. We will be observing closely its establishment to verify that it operates as intended to ensure humanitarian workers can do their jobs as safely as possible. While we welcome these initial steps, it's crucial to recognize that much more needs to be done. Many Palestinians in Gaza are at risk of famine, and every single man, woman, and child in Gaza is experiencing food insecurity. So these recent efforts must be just the starting point for a sustained Israeli commitment to ensure that the people of Gaza have their basic needs met. We expect Israel to fully implement its commitments quickly, and we will be monitoring that implementation. As Secretary Blinken has said, ultimately, it is the results that matter, and we will be judging them on those results. With that, Matt.
Okay, right. So, but it is correct, though, that you guys have not yet come to a determination as to whether the steps that Israel has undertaken now in the last couple of days, or is undertaking, meet your, I don't want to say requirements, but meet criteria that you have laid out. It's not, you haven't decided that yet?
It's something that we are going to assess over time because, as I was pointing out, it is not just important that they take initial steps to facilitate the increase of humanitarian assistance, but that increased flow of humanitarian assistance be sustained over time. We've had these moments before, most notably during the pause back November when we saw humanitarian assistance increase and then come back down. And what we want to see is a sustained increase. So new entries open up and they stay open. More trucks go in and they keep going in.
But you guys have been calling for these actions for months now. Why do you think that they've now started to? You can't hazard a guess.
So I can hazard a guess, but I'm not going to speak for the Israeli government. Sure, I'm not.
Since December, at least, even before.
Yeah.
You guys have been saying you need to open a northern crossing, and then when they did open the one, you said you kept going on about Erez, and that needs to be done. Ashdod, the Jordanian line, all of that stuff. You know, in January when we were there in Amman, you guys were talking about how important that was, and now it's April, and it's just starting to happen now. So why?
So I can't speak for the Israeli government, but I can.
For the US government.
I'm about to. What I can say is we have made clear over time the changes that we wanted to see implemented. We've seen some changes over time, but it has not been enough. And there has been an increasing sense of frustration inside the United States government that they have not taken some of these steps that we have been recommending and urging for some time. And the president last week made clear that ultimately their policy needed to change, or ours would.
All right, okay. And in the meantime, since you've been calling for all this, what has happened on the ground?
A number of things have happened on the ground, but the most important thing that we have seen is dramatically increased food insecurity inside Gaza.
I'm not. No, wait.
But
between. Let's.
That's why I start with a number of things happen on the ground, and which one you're going for.
Let's just start from January 1st of this year. Between January 1st and now, April, whatever it is, 8th. What has changed on the ground in Gaza?
With respect, I was starting to answer with respect to food. You seem to have an answer in mind.
How many more people are there?
Yeah.
How many more starving people are there? How many more civilian or, facilities, infrastructure? How much more of that has been destroyed? How many more aid workers have been killed?
So there have been 200 aid workers total that have been killed.
Yeah.
That's really been a constant since the beginning. And we have been making clear that there need to be better deconfliction and coordination measures. And that I will tell you that the step that they are taking now is important, but it's overdue.
Okay.
It should have happened months ago. A lot of these steps should have been happened months ago. We're happy that they're happening now, but they need to be increased and they need to be sustained.
So I'll stop after this, but in recognizing that often hindsight is 2020, shouldn't you have put the ultimatum, or shouldn't the president have done that months ago?
So we have made clear to them for months what we expect them to do, and we have seen
Backed up by what?
And we have seen them take steps at our urging, and some of those steps have been important, but they haven't been sufficient. And all I can say is that we welcome the initial steps they have taken over the past few days. They represent a dramatic improvement if fully implemented, but we're going to judge them ultimately by the results.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I wonder if we could come to the hostage negotiations. One of the other things that the president said to the Prime Minister Netanyahu in the call, according to the readout, was that the Israelis should empower, or Netanyahu should empower his negotiators to make a deal. Have you seen any evidence of a change in that regard?
So I'm not going to speak in detail with respect to the hostage negotiations, other than to say that there is a deal that's on the table for Hamas, and we hope that they'll accept it. We do believe that the Israeli government is ready to make a deal. They want to see their hostages returned, but we have to see Hamas being willing to accept such a deal.